This is the Human Resource Committee, and it's Monday, February 26th. The time is 6:30, and we are in the Nashua High School North Boardroom. Ms. Timmons is not here, but she's down at the city doing some business. Ms. Van Twyver is here. Mr. Mosier is here by telephone. Correct, Mr. Mosier?
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Mosier will be attending the meeting electronically as he continues his rehabilitation and recovery from surgery associated with a broken hip and edema. In addition, we have attending Ms. O'Hensey, Mr. Kaufman, and Mr. Guarino. Thank you.
Point of order?
Oh, let's see. Kaufman, Guarino. Oh, Dottie, I'm sorry. Miss Oden's here. I do this every time. I don't know. How come I can't get it right? Okay.
And I will be sitting in on the committee tonight.
Ms. Oden will be a voting member tonight. She makes up a quorum for us. So, first thing on the agenda this evening is personnel recommendations. In your packet, you had personnel recommendations dated for the 26th, and there are 15 items on the page, and I would entertain a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, Mr. Mosier?
May I speak?
Yes.
Okay, Mosier votes yes.
May I speak to this motion?
I'm sorry. I do that all the time, too. I never expect it. Yes, you may.
Thank you. I was just wondering if there was any reason why Mrs. Dustin left in the middle of the year instead of the end of the year, and I had a few questions about some of these positions are already posted and then others aren't, and I was just wondering if perhaps Ms. O'Gara could explain some of that to me. I could point out which ones, well, she probably knows which ones are posted.
I haven't posted any of the retiree teachers, and I'm the one who posts them.
Okay, but the director of CTE has been posted.
That is correct.
And the director of special ed has been posted.
That is correct. The two director positions have been posted, but not the teachers.
Is there a logic to why some are posted before with their...
I'm getting ready. So this is the second group of teacher retirees that are going through, and once this goes through the board tonight, I will be posting all the teacher retirements. We have a hiring process for the teachers that begins with our annual job fair, which we are having on March 13th, through the hiring process in April and May. Administrators, we usually post as soon as they give their resignation and retirement, because we don't have to wait for processes in the teacher contract like we do with the teachers. So we can go ahead and post. It's been very difficult to fill administrator positions over the past couple years. So we post it as soon as we can, especially since Ms. Dustin is leaving at the end of March. And no, I do not have a reason why.
Okay, thank you, and that's helpful. But last year you notified the board when you went to post. So that's why this year I looked some of them up, and I didn't expect so many to be posted because we hadn't received that notification. Can we go back to that methodology so we know?
I was going to do that, but I couldn't find it anywhere in the board, so I was unsure if we were still doing that. It's not in a board policy to notify you. It's in a board policy to notify you of the interviews that are taking place. That it is in one of your board policies, but not about notifying you when somebody's resigned.
You're correct. That was GFC that we heard that there was...
I can do that, though. I wasn't sure for Mary Ann's position. I think did we tell you about Chris Breen?
Not that they were posted. I looked them up and I found out they were posted. So then there was 3 of them on here that I knew, and only 2 out of the 3 were posted, so I was just trying to understand the process better. And I guess if you told us when they were posted, it would be helpful. Also, was there any follow-up interviews for the North principal? Because I got the date of the first one, but I didn't, usually those are rather rapid, that once you get the first level, you go to the second level.
We have a date for second interviews for the North principal.
Okay, and you'll send that to the full board?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anything else, anybody?
Can I just,
Yes.
Ms.
Mrs. Oden?
O'Gara,
Yes.
I think we had 19 retirements the last board meeting, and this board meeting, we have 12, or this committee meeting, 31. Is that higher than what we usually have?
Just slightly higher. We've been revolving around 25 to 28, so it's only slightly higher. The largest number of attrition that we've had has been the resignations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you. When I was looking at the postings myself, I ended up there as well. And I was curious that the posting for the CTE director at South is not being filled. It's not an effective date until July, even though Ms. Dustin is leaving in March. And I'm just curious, why are we leaving that intentionally open for
There are
several
2
months?
dates on the posting. One date is a date in February, and the other date is the date, it shouldn't say July. It should say April 1st. So that must be.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
So we'll,
could you look at that? I could be wrong,
no,
but thank
I'll
you very
check.
much.
Mr. Guarino, do you have anything?
No, I'm set, thank you.
Okay. So are we ready for the vote? I assume we are, since I heard no objections. So Ms. Van Twyver votes to accept the personnel recommendations dated February 26th. Mr. Mosier?
Yes.
Mosier votes yes. Mrs. Oden?
Yes.
And Van Twyver votes yes. And so it passes. Okay, so the next thing is the policy proposal, end of employment proposed. It's a brand-new policy. I guess there's some question about whether we've got the right copy or not of this in our packet. So, Mr. Coffin, did you want to say something?
Oh, thank you. Just by background, this is something that came up last year. Ms. O'Gara and I worked on it in committee, and then we met subsequently one more time, and we each had a piece to finish, and we both did that. And so I actually have to ask Ms. O'Gara, if I may. Dana, Ms. O'Gara, is this the result of our final work, what we have before us today?
yes.
Okay, so this includes, so I did have one other question then. If I recall correctly, there were several other policies that we tried to aggregate and move into this one single policy for a departure from the district. So my question is, are there some related policies that need to be rescinded? Because I thought that there were some that we were trying to move into here that those would no longer be needed.
No, there are policies that we should reference with this. One is the acceptable use policy from the information technology. And it is EHAA, employee use of network resource and telecommunication systems, because at the very end of the policy, it states that access to district email and all NRT systems will be terminated when an employee ends employment with the district. So we should reference that. And on the district security procedures, ECA-R, it also talks about when we receive a personal action form terminating a staff member from the Nashua School District, the HR officer, the high school principal will remove the employee from the access control system, which we do now, and the principal retrieves the ID card and keys from the employee at the time of separation from the district and forwards it to us in HR. So those are the only two things that we share with this policy, separation from employment. There's no other policy. There's a lot of collective bargaining agreements that identify appropriate written notice, but that's about it.
Mrs. Oden?
Thank you. I have 3 proposals in front of me. I have a draft, and then I have two proposals that are in red. One is 2 pages, and one is 1 page. Can you?
In my agenda that I have, that's for tonight, there is only one, and it's the short one.
Okay.
The short one?
Yep, the short one.
Yeah, see, this one is 2 pages.
Oh, okay.
This one
All
page,
right.
this one.
It might be wise if this happens again to put a date on when these were printed or something. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you. I have 2 suggested clarifications to the policy. One to the 3rd paragraph where it speaks to the exit survey results will be compiled and presented to the board on an annual basis, and just arbitrarily perhaps in July. So we'd be clear about when that report about the exit survey would come to the board.
I think that you might want to think about having it come in September after all the people have left for the last school year and before the new ones come.
Okay, thank you. September would be fine. I just would like to see a specific reference so we know when that would be coming. And then you may have answered the next point, which would be my last point, Ms. Van Twyver. In the next to last paragraph where you speak to the badges being deactivated by the HR department, I think you just referenced, was it ECA-R, the district security? And I think you just read to us that the badges are retained. Is that correct? If not, I would just...
At the school level, the principals collect the IDs and the keys. And they, of course, keep the keys because keys are to their building, and they send the ID badge in to us. But once we know somebody's terminating, we shut off their access.
Okay, but I just want to be certain that the badges are retained by the district when someone leaves the district. All badges.
I'm not sure that happens. I believe we send them over to the IT department, but I can look into that for you.
Well, my only concern is if we go with school safety and someone leaves the district, and even if we deactivate their card, the fact is they still have a badge that they can get in. It looks like every other ID card.
No, the badge is taken from them.
So, okay, that's...
By the school principal.
Okay.
They take them and they send the badge to HR.
Okay, so you said that was true for the teachers. So
For
is that true
everyone.
for all employees?
All employees.
Okay, so that answers my question about the badge being retained by the district. Thank you.
Yep. So I think we destroy them, honestly.
Even better.
Okay.
Even better. Even better.
Okay, so all right, so let's see what we agree. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mosier, what would you like to say?
Yeah, as far as the, Mr. Kaufman's concerned about the badges, that once the badges and any other identifiable items are removed or taken back, that leaves the individual with no means of any kind of identification that would allow them access to the school or to an office. So they would have nothing, access, let alone a badge which has their picture on and would either allow them to pass along with somebody else through a door. But once the badge is turned in and removed, either destroyed or deactivated or whatever, there's no way they could get in.
Yeah, I might.
You know, and another thing there, it says about the credit cards. There's only 2 credit cards that I know of. One is be used by the superintendent, and the other one by Mr. Donovan, and they are both kept under lock and key until they're needed.
Well, I don't think that would hurt to leave that in, but,
I believe Mr. Mosher is correct.
Reference to the credit cards is unnecessary.
all right, so you want to strike that. That would be one change.
Yes.
Strike that. Okay, let's see if we agree on what we just talked about. You want to reference policy EHAA and was it C or A-R? In paragraph, in the policy as a reference, right?
ECA-R,
ECA-R, okay.
because it has the same language as is in this policy, so usually
Right,
we
but there should
refer
be a
back.
reference to those.
Yep.
So Tara needs to add a reference to EHAA, correct?
That's correct.
And ECA-R.
Yes.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, in the third paragraph, at the end of the paragraph, it should say, board on an annual basis in August. Or did you say September?
I think September is
September.
better.
Okay. To the last paragraph. The third one, I'm going to have to rely on you to specify what the change was because I didn't catch it.
In the last paragraph,
Well, the third item that you wanted, the
Mr. Mosher asked for credit cards to be struck.
yeah, and then there was another thing that Mr. Coffin talked about, and I got distracted, so I didn't hear.
That's covered in the ECA-R, so we do not need a reference.
So there's, okay.
There is no additional change.
All right, so it's just those things that I've mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. I kind of hesitate, the chairman of the committee is not here tonight. I kind of hesitate to take a vote on this, and because she probably should hear the changes, yes?
Ms. Timmons saw this policy before I submitted it, and she was okay with it.
Okay.
If you want to take my word.
I will take
I
your word for
swear.
it. You swear? Okay, I'll take your word for it. So if, Mr. Mosher, would you like to make a motion to approve this policy as amended?
Yes, I say that we should move this to the full board for as amended for approval.
I second it.
Okay, Mosher and Oden. Is there any discussion?
Just
Yeah, is that the full board for approval as amended? Okay. Did you want to say something? Yeah.
You know, I'm sensitive to when we were on policy together, Ms. Van Twyver, in that we tended to make an edit and bring it back, review it, and in that respect, more respect is given to the curriculum committee chair. So, I mean, it's a conundrum. I think it would move forward as soon as it got to the board. I don't see any problems, but at the same time, when you do have revisions, sometimes it's best to,
Well, that's what I
that's what
like.
we used to do, and I always appreciated that thoroughness. So,
It's not going to be on the agenda for tonight,
no, it can't anyway.
okay?
Well, I would think that the full board, after reviewing it, they would send it into policy for any further review.
Oh, that's true, too. Good point, Mr. Mosher. Thank you.
All right, so any other comments? Are you ready for the vote? Hearing none, I say Ms. Van Twyver votes yes. Ms.
I
Wood-
say yes.
Mr. Mosher? And Ms. Oden?
Yes?
Yes, the ayes have it, it passes, and this will be moved, once the corrections are made by Tara, it'll be put to the full board at the next meeting, not tonight. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed? Yes?
Thank you.
I have a motion to be made.
Yes, sir?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Did
I wanted to say something
Okay,
for
wait a
that
minute.
motion.
Yeah, hold on a second. You're not going to do it.
We'll just go quickly, it shouldn't be long.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a note that there was a policy that was brought to this committee on December 11th, BDEB, that went to the superintendent for review and comments. That was like 2.5 months ago. And I was just hoping that we could just write a note so we could get that back to a future HR meeting.
Let the record show that this EDB, was it?
It was BDEB.
BDEB needs to come back to this committee or go to the full board?
It was the policy on HR committee, and it was sent for review to the superintendent for review and comment on December 11th, and then he was going to get it back to the committee. So I thought maybe a note would be helpful to him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Committee chair shall send a note to him requesting his comments. Yep.
And also in December, we reviewed a policy proposal that I had made for the interview process for district level administrator level, director level employees and up. And that was heard in the committee in December, but asked the committee to bring it forward for future discussion, continued discussion.
The HR committee.
Yes.
That was the same policy.
Is that the same one?
That was your policy.
Okay.
Yes, so it's the same one.
I forgot.
Same policy.
I forgot the
Okay.
letters. Thank you.
So,
Motion to adjourn?
okay, is there a second? I'll second it. Mr. Mosier,
Yes.
you vote to adjourn?
Yes.
I vote to adjourn, and Ms. Oden votes to adjourn, so I guess we're adjourned at 6:53.